Traditional masculinity is broken. Let's imagine a young man named Jimmy. He turns 18 and receives his man card. Man card, made for the alpha in you. On the back are the 3 responsibilities of a traditional man. 1. Protect. He must protect his loved ones from danger. 2. Provide. He must provide financial assets for his romantic partner or children. And 3. Lead. He must be a leader, if not of other men, at least in his own household. Jimmy finds these rules extremely reasonable, and he's unaware of the fact that trying to fulfill these responsibilities will make him a fragile, insecure, and extremely weak human being. Jimmy gets a girlfriend named Janie, and things are going great. He wants to be a protector, so he learns martial arts to keep Janie safe. He is deserving of his man card. Until one night they end up at a bar. A guy approaches Janie, says something gross, and tries to put a hand up her skirt. Jimmy is a traditional man, and he is prepared for this moment. He goes to defend Jamie's honor, and the guy, who is way bigger and ex-military, slaps him around, then runs off before the cops show up. Jimmy has failed. By the rules of traditional masculinity, Jimmy has lost his man card. Janie should break up with him. These are the rules. Now, is it fair that your man card can be taken away by some random a-hole at a bar? Not really, but by the definition of trad mandom, that is the case. Despite Jimmy's failure, Janie decides to stay with him. Jimmy decides he can still be a man by providing for Janie. Jimmy becomes a fireman, and Janie moves in with him. He's a good boyfriend, supporting her as she finishes her law degree. What a guy. He gets his man card back. Then Janie graduates, gets a job in a big law firm, and because she's a good lawyer, starts to make more money than him. He is no longer the main provider. This could also have happened if he lost his job or got injured and could no longer work. Doesn't matter. He isn't making the most money. He isn't the provider, so he loses his man card for the second time. Again, doesn't seem fair, but them's is the rules. Now let's assume their love is true, and Janie decides to stay with Jimmy, despite the fact that he didn't choose the world's most lucrative career. The leadership thing now comes into play. What does leadership in a relationship look like? Does Janie have to do what Jimmy says? What if he wants to move someplace where there are more job opportunities, and she doesn't? If she says she doesn't want to move, is he no longer the man? If Jimmy gets drunk and wants to drive, should Janie let him because he's the head of house? If she takes the keys from him, is she stealing his masculinity or being a bad girlfriend because she isn't letting him be in charge? What if they get sued by their neighbor? She is a lawyer, but should he make the decision because he's the man? Why should he make the decisions if she knows more about the law than him? If they get sued and Janie still lets Jimmy be in charge, is he really a secure man? Wouldn't a secure man be happy for his girlfriend to handle the legal things if she's a lawyer? This is the central flaw in the man card. In order to follow trad man rules, Jimmy needs Janie to comply at all times. If she does anything on her own or better than him, he loses the man card. Now, one obvious solution to this crisis is to get rid of Janie. She isn't playing by the trad rules of the man card, so he could dump her and date a trad woman named Tiffany. But here's the problem. Tiffany wouldn't have stayed with him if he lost that fight. She would have dumped him if he didn't make more money than her, and she would have let him drive drunk because he's the man and she must comply. So Jimmy has 3 options. 1, he can try and make Janie comply with him by telling her she can never go out, telling her to quit her job, and screaming and bullying her when she doesn't do exactly what he says. 2, he can dump Janie and go after a woman like Tiffany, who will dump him as soon as life gets hard. Or 3, dump the trad man card. Here's why that's the smart solution. If you can't be a man without your life being perfectly in order, you're the biggest and strongest guy in the room, and your romantic partner completely defers to you, then you're going to spend most of your life failing. Not because you are a failure, but because you're following a set of rules that ignore what life is. Life is hard and you're going to fail. If your definition of masculinity doesn't allow failure, you will always fall short of the man rules. It also makes no sense for actually becoming a strong person. Going through a hard times is what makes you strong. Failure and learning from it is what makes you grow. It's what makes you a powerful person. So if you're broke, you get beaten in a fight, you're sick in the hospital, you get into an accident, you lose your job, or you're brokenhearted because your mom died, you aren't a man? This is absurd. The definition of manhood needs to embrace you in every part of life. If you are trying to be a good person, that is enough. I have grappled with this issue for most of my life. I succeeded in being a trad man and it didn't make me happy. It just made me a fragile, angry person trying to control the world around me, and terrified that somebody would steal my man card. So here are 2 rules that I've adopted that have helped me become a much better, much stronger, and more secure man. First, life isn't about rankings, but quests. You aren't trying to be more than anyone. You're trying to find missions that you want to pursue. This could be anything from traveling to Cuba, getting married and having kids, volunteering at a homeless shelter, or starting a business. Choosing things that you want to go after and going after them is where the living is. And the great thing about quests is, if you give yourself a quest and follow it, you are winning, and it doesn't matter where you start. If you want to get in better shape and you start going to the gym regularly, it doesn't matter what you look like or how fit you are initially. The fact that you started the quest and pursue it is what matters. Second, don't measure yourself by roles, but by values. Roles like being an athlete or being a traditional man or being a police officer are inflexible and don't bend to the complexities of life. If your worth comes from being a police officer, then you get shot and can't serve anymore, suddenly your worth goes away. This is completely unfair to you as a person. Values, on the other hand, never disappear. If one of your values is diligence, you can be diligent if you're the CEO of a company or you just lost your home. If you measure yourself by your role, your worth is completely dependent on external circumstances. If you measure yourself by your values, you can always be sure you're on the right track, regardless of what life throws at you. One final rule of values is they don't require other people to behave in a certain way. Being a man is a personal journey, and no two paths are the same. Anyone who tells you you aren't a man and sets up an arbitrary goal for you to complete, like you have to bench twice your body weight to get your man card, is probably selling you something. If you sincerely pursue your own quests and live according to your values, that's it. You're a man.